Namah Shivaya. Namah Shivaya.
Thank you, Aarti Aunty. So, thank you, Guruji, for this opportunity. Today, Vikas Uncle and Aarti Aunty asked me, would you like to do a satsang? And I was like, sure, but I have not thought anything. So, pardon me if I move around. So, I have a couple of satsangs that I want to share. And I'm going to first start maybe with when I got connected and my journey. So, my wife's family side, they were connected with Guruji maybe since 2018 or 17, and I went to Bade Mandir because my wife went, so I had to go maybe a couple of times. But then in 2021 March, I moved here to US, and I think my wife may have shared this before, Winky. When we were moving, she was looking for a place to stay here, and by chance, she just selected a place which is like 5 minutes walk from here. And after she selected that place, we realized Guruji's mandir is like literally 5 minutes. And I was really happy. I wasn't connected at that point in time, but I was really happy that it's just a 5 minutes walk and I can go. And when we moved, she did come with me, but she had to go back in 5-6 days. But I would come every Thursday after office, have langar, and at that time it was box langar that was served, and I would just go back home. Then after around a year, I think Vikram uncle asked that, would you like to do seva? I said, yeah, why not? Till even that time, I did not feel like there was a connection that I had, right? So, but then there were things that were happening at the back end, like for example, the room or the place that I was in, it was a single bedroom, and then I moved to another one in the same community on 7th of July. I took that new place, and the house number was 734. It had nothing in my mind. And then the place that I moved right now, around 2 years ago, the house number is also 7. It was not intentional. It's just that it just happened. So, right? And then I think when I was moving from India to US, that's my first satsang. So I had moved, I'd applied for an L1A visa, and it was a blanket visa at that point in time, but it got rejected. This was an application in Feb 2020, just before COVID, right? So my company, I work with American Express. They filed an individual petition that got approved in 15 days, and it just had to be stamped in the embassy. But the day it got approved, the embassies got closed because of COVID in March 2020, and I was like, what the hell? And then I had to wait like 1 year, even though my visa was approved, I couldn't come over here, right? And the reason, the lady that told me that I can give you L1B, but I can't give you L1A. I was like, no, I want L1A. It's not about what are you giving me, but it's what's on the application. That's fine. So 1 year passed, and I was really unhappy that you're progressing well in life, and that got impacted because of it. Then I moved here in March of 2020, so around 3 years ago. Now that I look at it in hindsight, you realize that that was a tough period for anybody to move to a new country, and would have been hard for me because I'm close to my family back in India with my friends. They're all close by. So that period of staying in the house for 9-10 months would have been really hard. So in hindsight, it's actually good. So I kind of feel lucky and thankful to Guruji for that decision to not let me move here. Good thing is I moved, and then I got promoted in like 8 months here in American Express. So it really didn't impact my journey per se. So thank you to Guruji for doing things what is right for you, even though you want something else, right? That's one of my satsangs. The other is, it's not a satsang, but I feel that I'm blessed with respect to not having to work very hard for things. So Guruji always makes sure that I don't struggle for things. I feel I got married, of course, to my wife. So Winky, she's a very mature person compared to me, where I am compared to maybe when I married her. She fills in exactly the gaps that I have in my life, right? Like, she's very mature. She knows what decisions to take at what point in time, which I am probably not good at. There are certain places where I'm not good at. Financial, I'm good, but social angle, she's much better at it, right? So I think having me blessed with getting married to Winky is a big blessing for me. My in-laws side, their family, they're like super loving. You know, it's like you grow up with family and then you get another family. It's a bonus, right? So thank you to Guruji for blessing me with another family. The last thing I want to say is my dad, he had an accident last year around October. So I was at Costco. I think I was changing I changed my network provider. So I didn't have data on my phone. And I went to Costco to get data on that plan and get that corrected. So I wasn't connected to internet. And when people from India call, they have to call on WhatsApp. And while I was doing that application with that guy, he said, why don't you connect to the Costco Wi-Fi for you to fill the application? I said, no, that's fine. I can fill it up on the system. And the guy said, no, you should do it on your phone. I said, okay. As soon as I connected to it on the phone, I got a call from India. It was like 7 p.m. morning India, 4:30 a.m. And my brother-in-law, not brother-in-law, my cousin brother, my Mamaji's son, he said, Bhaiya, Mamaji ka na accident ho gaya. I go, it's morning 1:30. What kind of an accident? He said he fell down. He had a low blood pressure, and he's coming out of the washroom. He fell down. And India, and we have marbles, marble floors in India, and he has, multiple skull fractures. And that was as soon as I had connected my phone to Wi-Fi. And then I asked him, "Did you call me before?" He said, "No, I just called you for the first time." So I felt that was kind of a big coincidence that you got to know as early as possible. So I came back home, booked my tickets, I went. He was in ICU for 4 or 5 days. There was bleeding in his head. He lost all his motor functions, eyes, hearing, and everything was lost. But then within 3 or 4 days, the situation improved drastically. He had a midline shift in the sense the center of the head had moved to the right side because there's such a big swelling on one side. So they had to operate him to get that bone out, get the swelling and blood out, and let it rest. But he's kind of 90-95% recovered right now, which is a big blessing, considering the amount of impact that he had on his head, right? So thank you to Guruji for that. I'm not going into the details of the journey per se, but the starting and the end point where we started from, it was really hard to see. My father is a retired colonel, and he's somebody who's commanded all his life, and he's commanded respect, and he's gotten that respect all his life. And when you see that person in a position where he's not able to control his basic motor functions, you realize that life can be hard, and it teaches you tough lessons, right? So it has made me more humble with respect to not taking things for granted. Despite that, I've received a lot of things from Guruji, which I don't think I've had to work that hard. Like a lot of people, when they move to US, they have to work hard for visa. When last year I was sitting in a pub with my friends, and we were just chatting, and they said, "Have you applied for your green card?" I said, "No, I don't think I plan to stay here that long, so it doesn't really matter to me." He said, "No, you should still apply." I said, "Okay, what's the benefit?" And the guy said, "It just helps you get out of the airport in and out much smoothly." I said, "Okay, it'll give me more money." He said, "Yeah, it'll give you more money if you change your job." I said, "Okay." So next day I went and I dropped an email to my boss that what's the procedure to get a green card? I want to get a green card. And he said, "Okay, approved, apply, go ahead." I was like, "Okay." And then I applied, and then I asked a few colleagues. They said, your green card got approved?" I said, "Yeah, my boss is fine with it." I'm like, "Okay." And they had to struggle for it for good 4 or 5 years to build that reputation. So I feel like he had a role to play in that as well, that it was instantly approved by my LT. And so that's one. I think, that's about it. That's all that I could think of in the limited time that Aarti and Vikas uncle gave me. No, okay, one more thing I'll share. I think, I think being connected to Mandir, doing seva. I was at Aarti Auntie's Satsang home, Satsang, and she messaged me that I'm doing Satsang at my place. Would you like to come? So this was the second Satsang that I actually went to your place. And I think I messaged you that I'll come if you only allow me to do seva. Otherwise, I'm not coming. So till that time I also did not feel so connected, but I liked doing seva. I don't know for what reason at that point in time. But then as I've been more and more involved, I think it has made me more humble, and it teaches you different lessons. I was talking to Ashwini uncle yesterday, and he even said that different kinds of seva are different kind of trainings for you. So somebody in maybe shoe seva, somebody in parking seva, somebody in doing, langar seva. Those are Guruji's ways to teach you different skills and different qualities that he wants you to be imbibed with, right? So thank you so much for that opportunity, Guruji. And yeah, thank you for the Sangat Parivar. Thank you for listening to me. Jai Guruji.